Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Let your shoulders soften. It's safe to be here, just as you are. Tonight, there's nothing to figure out. No steps to memorize, no goals to chase. There's only your heart humming softly beneath the noise, slowing down. Listen, the world outside can be loud and hungry, always asking you to hustle, to achieve, to prove. But here, in this gentle darkness, you don't need to do anything. You are enough simply breathing. Let the covers hold you, like the earth holding the roots of a tree, deep, unmoving, connected to something silent and eternal underneath it all. Maybe you've carried worries today, stories that pressed down on your chest. You let them slip. For a moment, like leaves drifting down a quiet river. You aren't broken. What if every feeling, even the uncomfortable ones, are just visitors, sacred messengers passing through, only here to teach you love in ways you'd almost forgotten? Soften into that idea. To trust that your body and mind know how to ground, just like roots know how to find water. Even in dry soil, each breath reminds you it's safe to rest, safe to surrender, safe to remember that you belong here in this chapter with every part of you welcomed home. Imagine this space is a sacred circle, gentle, honest, just you, me, and all the hidden parts of you listening. Nobody needs to perform. You can be real. Even in your silence you are seen. Sometimes healing comes simply by being witnessed. Even in the gentle dark, let your heart beat slow just a little. Let your jaw unclench. Let your spirit feel the hush. Finally, with every pause, life rearranges itself, just enough to let a new story come through. Maybe tonight is the beginning of that story. You don't have to know where it leads. All that matters is this moment, this warmth, this breath, this soft invitation to come home again. And as you rest, feel yourself settling, like sunlight through old windows, like honey slipping slow from the spoon, like a secret you always sensed, waiting for you to remember. You are safe here. Just breathe and let whatever needs to find you now. Welcome back to the Abundance Alchemist, your quiet space to remember who you are. Tonight, it's all right to let go. You've carried a lot, haven't you? There's a gentle ache just beneath your ribs, a secret, pulsing truth about what it's felt like to be alive in a world that worships bright, shiny hustle. Money, trust, those invisible expectations, the pressure to always be some kinder, shinier version of yourself. That hush between heartbeats whispering, there's more to figure out, far more to prove. Maybe you've felt it late at night. The quiet tension behind your eyes, even when the world looks calm. Maybe you wake, and for just a breath it's peaceful, until the old ache drops into your gut, soft but unshakable. A memory almost, or a question that refuses to sleep. Am I safe? Is there enough? Am I enough? Tonight you don't have to solve or shift or rise. You just listen, wrapped in permission to be exactly as you are. Let this story wash over you. Remember being a child, before bills or balances, before you knew that money could mean worry. There was wildness then and simple wonder, each coin a treasure, each gift miraculous. Time stretched long, afternoons scented like sun on old wood, but the world teaches subtly at first. Maybe you heard grown-ups sigh about tight months, or felt the hush after a parent checked the mail. Little by little, trust becomes a thread pulled tight, money transforming from play into something heavier, and you learned to be careful, to be ready for the unspoken, spinning worry you tell yourself, it's just what everyone faces. It becomes invisible pressure, a companion shaping every choice. The world hands you a mask, and over time you forget the sound of your own ease. Trust. What would it mean to let yourself lean into something or someone enough to rest? To unclench your jaw, to let the moment hold you. You don't have to perform tonight. You don't have to keep your eyes open for the next problem hiding around the corner. You have done so much, sweet soul. Not perfectly, not without missteps, but with the deepest love for those you care for and the fiercest attempt to meet expectations you couldn't even see. There's an ache in you that knows it's the heaviness of asking, am I allowed to stop? If I let go, will everything unravel? That's the myth. That the whole world's stitched to your ability to hold everything together, but your spirit, your truest presence, does not owe the world a perfect performance. You are allowed to be unfinished and still worthy. Feel the softness between thoughts. Maybe tonight, with every slow breath, you let a little unearned gentleness in. Just for this moment, you don't have to earn a single thing, the pressure to be on all the time, the feeling that rest is suspect, that peace must be purchased or proven. It's an old story. Older than you, maybe it's time to lay it down. For tonight, let yourself ache if you need to. Let yourself long for answers, but notice underneath there is another noticing. A steady, quiet hum. Something in you that never leaves, even as the world presses and pulls. You can trust that even if you don't have the words. Even if you've been afraid to trust for years, let your jaw unclench, shoulders heavy on the pillow, hips soft into your mattress. There is nothing to do, no one to impress. You are the only witness to this moment, and even the ache is welcome. It's just your heart, remembering how much it wants to live unguarded, to breathe in a world not shaped by pressure or proving. Maybe tonight that's enough. Maybe tonight just noticing is enough, and you float easy as you are. Sometimes I wonder if the deepest part of every soul is just craving space, space to breathe without worry, space to be so fully seen, imperfections and all, space to know we don't have to carry it all alone. There's that tiny ache in your chest sometimes, maybe just under the surface, the one that whispers, I wish things could just feel lighter, simpler, softer. Can you feel it now? That almost invisible longing, that wish to just drop every heavy thing you've ever picked up, and for someone or something to gently catch them for you. It isn't silly. It isn't selfish. It's holy, the wanting to feel free, the holy ache for flow, for ease, for a life that isn't a constant uphill swim. Money worries, family expectations, the endless proving, chasing, hustling, even the little voice that says you need to fix yourself and be someone else just to be worthy of softness. That voice is tired. You're tired, let yourself rest into the truth. There is a sacredness, a kind of old wisdom in the gentle human hunger to be supported. To know you can unclench your jaw, you can fill your lungs fully, you can trust there will be enough. Wouldn't it be a relief to surrender all the shoulds and musts? And to slip out of those too tight rules you never asked for? Imagine being so sure you would be caught that you could fall into softness and be met there. all your dreams stretched out and waiting, nothing chasing you into wakefulness. No one watching to see if you fail, no trap doors or hidden edges, just room to exhale. That's what money is supposed to be, not a weapon or a measuring stick, but a support, a cushion, a gentle kind of invitation to play, to start over and over again, to buy a cup of coffee for you and a friend without counting dimes, to feel sufficiency in your bones, not just in the bank. That hunger for overflow. It's not only about finances, it's the longing to feel cradled by something greater, life itself, perhaps. To feel that someone, seen or unseen, is holding a net beneath your leap. You get to want this, you always have. Even if no one told you it was okay. There's a wildness in the wish to be free. A memory that came before tight schedules and tough years, before anxiety curled up in your chest like a pet you never wanted. There's a realness in everything you crave. You don't have to earn your right to ease, you don't have to prove your scarcity before abundance arrives. You can simply want to have more than enough, to stop calculating every risk, every meal, each smile you give away. You can want laughter that isn't forced, mornings where you wake up unburdened, nights when you rest without feeling punished for resting. You can want money that comes from your joy, not your breaking point. Support that lifts you before you crumble. You can want. You are allowed. Maybe take a breath here, forget the lessons for a moment. Just listen to your own achy, that desire you sometimes try to forget or dress up as something else. Let it be honest for a change. And tell your heart it's normal to wish for a life that feels safe, strong, and generous. A life where you don't have to clutch so tightly to people, to pennies, to perfection. Tonight, let yourself lean into that secret wish. Let it rise like a tide inside you. Let it be beautiful, if only because it belongs to you. Sometimes it moves in quietly, this tightness at the ribcage, a hush behind the heart. Fear, that gentle shadow, familiar as your own breath. You notice it in the way your jaw holds itself tight at midnight, in the way voices from old stories echo just below your waking thoughts. What if it's not safe to be happy? What if ease is too much to trust? You turn on your side, alone with the hush. There are walls you can feel inside, little gates carefully built, even though you once swore you'd be open. Sometimes fear sounds like waiting. Like the flicker of almost ready, almost clear, almost enough. Waiting to exhale, waiting for the world to show you you are safe. Sometimes fear is stubborn gentleness. Hesitation wearing old pajamas, folding itself smaller and smaller until it blends with the soft dark. No matter how much you grow, there are weathered doors inside, kept shut not because you don't want light, but because some part of you aches to keep safe what has already been hurt. You remember, maybe as a child, when something sparkled and you ran toward it, until the world somehow convinced you to look over your shoulder first. You can almost still feel the gravity behind that caution, whispered warnings, handed down from voices softer than your own. Don't get too close, don't open too wide, don't expect too much. These protections, ancient and handmade, held you when you were small, taught you how to arrange your heart to the world's doubtful rhythms. But you grew so much that the protections get knotted now. Sometimes you wake at 2 a.m. uncertain why you feel so tired, It's not the world making you heavy. It's the shields quietly humming, still working long after the threat has gone. Maybe if someone asked, you'd say, I'm not afraid. Not really, I'm just careful. I'm wise now, you'd insist, blood thumping with adult logic, but deeper down there's a tiny voice hiding behind the grown-up reasons. It curls up inside your hope, afraid to let go. It's afraid to let the sunlight touch the wound. You notice how you pause before doors of joy, how you check the locks before letting ease come in. You are brave, but brave can sometimes just mean prepared for pain. And you reach almost, you try almost, you love almost. But almost is not soft. Almost is armor dressed in longing. What if the fear isn't wrong? What if the hush is simply the sound of you remembering all the ways you tried to be safe before you dared to be free? There is no blame here, just a tender inventory. There's the part of you that clings to worry because long ago worry felt like love. A parent stayed awake. A friend warned you. A family member braced for storms, so you believed vigilance must be the way. It's why sometimes you can sense celebration arriving, but your body shivers anyway, as if joy itself is a storm cloud about to burst. You are not broken, you are simply thorough in your care. The heart is clever, weaving past into the present, packing away lessons in little crevices of muscle and memory. Even as you shift under the covers, the old stories curl around your ribs, gentle but firm. Keep the flame low, they say, expect less, hope small, it's safer that way. But tonight you are learning to hear the sound beneath the fear, the sound that waits till all else is quiet, the wild, patient pulse that wants to open. Even after everything, you are not running any longer, you are staying with yourself even here, especially here. Sometimes, without even realizing it, you carry something heavy that isn't yours. Maybe you first felt it as a hush at the dinner table when there wasn't enough, or maybe there just might not be. A parent sighs at the bills, the groceries counted, the lights turned off not just to sleep but to save. You were little but you noticed, tiny shoulders memorizing the language of lack. It finds a home inside you, that hush. A soft chiming, barely audible, echoing whenever you wish for more. Whispering, careful, don't take too much. Don't ask, only open your hands so wide. You grow up and the world calls this caution or wisdom or being realistic. But underneath, your gentlest parts remember the cost of wanting. Maybe you learned to read silence like a survival guide, to become smaller in the spaces where wanting was met with worry. You built quiet habits, like counting every dollar in your head, or apologizing when you order dessert, or circling back and putting things back on the shelf. Maybe you laugh it off, I'm just being responsible. But sometimes, late at night, the ghost of those old patterns visits. Scarcity isn't just about money, it's the breath you hold when you think about your own dreams, the waiting for the invitation to take up space, the feeling of being grateful for crumbs because you're scared the feast would cost you too much. Maybe there's a memory, a birthday where the gift you really wanted was just too much to ask. You never spoke it, but you felt the answer in someone's tired smile, so you learned to shrink your asking until it almost disappeared. Years later, when someone offers love or praise or plans for something beautiful, do you find yourself bracing just a little? Do you scan for the hook, the hidden price, the fine print others seem not to see? It's not your fault, the walls built slowly to keep disappointment out. Sometimes they still work so hard for you. Sometimes they do their job too well and keep out delight too. You notice the bracing when something easy comes your way. You notice the urge to shrink a thank you, to give back double to prove you're not selfish, to check your pockets after every blessing. We call it protection. Maybe it is. But protection over time can become a prison. Subtle, silent, the bars painted with caution, the door locked with old loyalty. If it feels tender to name it, that's okay. Let it be. You are not broken for holding on to scarcity. You are not ungrateful for wanting more. There is a quiet bravery in noticing your hands still curl closed, even when the plate is full. There is a soft wisdom in daring to wonder, what would happen if I let myself want? If I don't apologize, if I just receive? Tonight, just notice. You don't have to pry old stories open yet. Just notice the shapes they take, the silent bargains, the shrinking, the careful choosing. You notice the small ways you've learned to armor your heart, and as you drift, imagine for a moment what it would be like to rest those habits, to loosen the fist, to let the hush in your chest relax. Maybe, just maybe, there are patterns here, but patterns do not define you. You were born to receive more than you were taught you deserved. The story isn't finished. The pattern isn't permanent. There is space here, slow and soft within you, for a new kind of breath. Let it come softly. Let it come when you're ready. Tonight, just notice. Sometimes abundance feels like a horizon you just can't touch, like you're running towards something that keeps pulling back into mist. But what if wealth is not some wild thing to be caught? What if it is a gentle river that comes when you open your hands? Wealth is not a chase, it is an allowing. All cycles expand and return. Trust is the bridge. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But our world, the old echoes, say you must hunt, compete, strive until your bones ache. What if they're wrong? What if spaciousness, letting things come, is the way? Here is the first point: let go of chasing. Let receiving become your quiet practice. Why does this matter? Because chasing keeps you behind a wall. It makes wealth feel like a test, a race, and your spirit is not a runner in someone else's game. Close your eyes just for a breath. Imagine an apple tree. No one chases after apples. The branches open, the fruit comes in cycles. There is ripeness when the timing is true. You simply reach out gently and receive. Another example, think of the ocean tide. You don't command it to rise, you don't push the moon to pull the sea. You trust the return, the rhythm, the flow that happens without any force. One more, have you ever seen a butterfly land on an open palm? Not if you chase, not if you lunge. But sometimes when you're still, soft, unhurried, the beauty comes to rest beside you. Let's breathe into that. Second point, trust is the bridge. Why does this matter? Because without trust we close off too soon. We tighten our grip. We convince ourselves that only worry and hustle make us worthy. But trust is what lets abundance flow. It's what calls the journey in, not by force, but by invitation. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet river. The only way to cross is to trust the bridge beneath your feet, even when fog blurs the middle. You don't sprint, you walk foot by foot with gentle faith. Another image, picture planting a seed. You trust it will unfurl in its own time, underground, unseen. You water, you wait, you trust the loosening earth. And one more, think about the people you trust most. Isn't it always those who let you be, who welcome you without needing to fix or hurry or change you? Trust is space. Trust is soft hands. Let yourself lean into that quiet spaciousness tonight. Third point, all cycles expand and return. Why is this sacred? Because when you believe in return, you stop grasping at what might leave you. You remember that all things come back, different, sometimes more beautiful. Picture the seasons. Winter never doubts that spring will come. The full moon always circles back after the dark. Or remember your own breath. The inhale, the pause, the easy exhale that finds its way back to you. There is nothing to force. Only the trust in the next gentle expansion. Here is one more cycle. Old friendships sometimes fade, but life always brings new kinships, different names, same warmth, another return. So tonight, as you rest, let these truths settle in your bones. There is no race. Let wealth be gentler like the river, the tide, the branch heavy with fruit. Let trust be your bridge. And remember, all that is meant for you is already circling back, expanding quietly toward you. No need to chase, only to allow. Let's begin with a gentle truth. Your identity is the riverbed. It shapes the current. The flow follows where you believe it can go. Sometimes it feels like life is just happening to you, like flow is something outside, something to catch or chase, but softly, quietly. What if the river only moves the way you let it? Point 1. Sometimes all it takes is a shift, not in circumstance, but in who you're willing to see yourself as. Why does this matter? Because the self you assume is the gatekeeper of the flow you feel. Imagine this, rainwater pooling on a windowsill. If you call yourself unworthy, the water trickles away, each drop hesitant to enter. When you call yourself abundant, suddenly the sill overflows, something opens, real life right here. First example, think of a woman who's been treated like an outsider at work. She expects the closed door and the cold shoulder, so she whispers apologies into every room. Co-workers sense it and step around her, seeing her with the same smallness she sees herself. Until one quiet morning, eyes still tired, she lets herself stand tall. Just for a moment. She doesn't change her clothes, her role, or her past, just her posture. She assumes belonging. The room softens, someone looks up. A laugh is shared, the cycle mirrored. Another example. A man restless with his money story watches his friends buy houses, plan futures. His story runs, I'm just not the lucky one. Money leaks through my hands, so every paycheck slithers out, chased by worry and uncertainty. One afternoon he pauses by a fountain, listens to the water's easy rhythm. He lets himself wonder. What if abundance flows to me too? That tiny shift, assume just for a beat, the cycle wants him involved. Suddenly spending slows, savings gather, not because circumstance dramatically changed, but his sense of self did. Last in this sequence, see a young parent running on empty, defining identity by exhaustion. I'm just barely holding on. The energy, the cycle echoes back. Night after night, patience threads thin. But one starry evening, they stare into their child's eyes, see possibility, and let themselves feel, I am more than weary, I am steady, I am enough. The cycle softens, the home breathes deeper. Point 2. Why assume abundance even before you see it? Because your identity is a lighthouse calling waves to shore. The flow isn't bribed by hustle, it's drawn by being. Metaphor, think of a sunflower. Returning without effort, following the invisible heat of the sun. It doesn't chase light, it simply is a sunflower. The flow finds it. First of 3, someone who feels safe in their soul walks into uncertainty with open palms. Their days fill with little gifts, moments of luck, laughter, gentle surprises. That safety isn't a reward, it's the invitation. Next, imagine a creative soul, blocked, tangled with doubt. Calling themselves unoriginal, the muse stays at a distance. But then one late night they whisper, I am a vessel, ideas flow through me. It's small, almost a secret, but the next morning, inspiration arrives quietly. The cycle mirrors that quiet, assumed belonging. Or this, an older man finds himself alone, fearing his best days are behind him. His identity is built around past tense. The river barely moves. But one early dawn, he feels the warmth on his chest. Breath slows, he dares to think, I am still becoming, I am fertile ground. Conversations spark. A new friend enters his world. The mirror reflects, becoming. Point 3. The cycle doesn't discriminate, it reflects. What you believe yourself to be, the flow becomes. If you say, abundance happens to others, not me, you will find evidence of that elsewhere endlessly. But if, gently, you assume abundance is not out there, but within you, the world ripples in response. First life moment, the artist who calls herself starving versus the one who claims my art is worthy. The difference is not talent, but the current of belief. The former waits for scraps, the latter attracts patronage. Metaphor, picture 2 mirrors facing each other. If one is fogged with self-doubt, the reflection never becomes clear, never repeats. But if even slightly you wipe a patch clean, that clarity repeats into infinity. Last story for this night, a lover healing from heartbreak identifies as broken. They attract echo after echo of unavailable souls. But one night they whisper, I am worthy of being truly seen. The cycle softens. A new connection appears, ready to meet their heart as it is now. Let your identity tonight be the beginning of the flow you crave. You assume softly, gently, that abundance is not earned but remembered. The cycle begins in you, Mother River, sacred ground. Your night is a quiet mirror. Let yourself believe just for now and see what the current brings. Sometimes, when sleep is soft in your bones, you begin to notice how much of what you desire wants to come to you without struggle, without striving, like sunlight that needs nothing from the flower, and yet the flower still opens. And tonight, let's wander into the quiet truth. Abundance flows to presence, not performance. You don't have to earn what's already yours. Just breathe that in, this gentle invitation to stop performing, to let your guards soften, to simply be. Why does this matter? Because most of us learned to hustle for our worth, to chase gold stars and applause, thinking, maybe then something good will find me. But real abundance is softer than applause. It comes like water to the open palm. Here's the first story I want your soul to remember. Think of a river. It doesn't perform to deserve the rain finds it always in quiet embrace. The river simply listens, it accepts. It welcomes what's already flowing toward it. Sometimes we're like tired rivers carving through old rocks, believing we must prove, must persuade just to be filled. But you are already the favored stream. The rain never needed your performance. Second, picture a child is sitting cross-legged in sunlight, absorbed in play. There's no audience, no scoreboard, no transaction. Abundance pours through laughter, through small fingers tracing shapes in the dust. The child doesn't invent joy, joy is simply here because they're too present to chase it. We forget as we grow that our worth isn't a contest score. Abundance isn't a prize, it's more like air. It circles closest to those who remember how to breathe. Last, imagine you're in a garden at dusk, the day winding down, and the scent of jasmine floats to you. Did you earn this beauty? Did you win it with effort? No, presence was enough. Just showing up was the invitation. Abundance doesn't knock on doors. It seeps through open windows when you're available, not performing, not rehearsing lines meant to impress the world. Let's pause and anchor another layer of this truth. You don't have to perform for love or worth or receiving. Your presence is the open hand, the welcome mat, the soft landing place. Why does that matter? Because every time you tense up and try to prove who you are, life feels farther away. But when you loosen, something beautiful slips in quietly on tiptoe. Sometimes abundance needs you to just rest. Here's one whisper from the world. A musician, practicing her cello late at night, realizes that the most moving notes come not amid feverish perfection, but when her spirit melts into the song. She is present. Her performance falls away, and music, like abundance, finds a clear channel. Or think of a garden left untended, nature weaving green through every forgotten crevice. No one asked the vines to try, and yet beauty returns in the absence of judgment. Where presence sleeps, abundance still grows. And perhaps a friend who listens, really listens, without fixing, without rushing to solve, their presence makes you feel seen. Their stillness is a wealth no words could earn. One more time, let's come back to presence. It's not passive, it's full-bodied, rich, alive. Every time you exhale, you are saying, I don't need to perform, I trust I'll receive. Why is this so tender? Because a lifetime of striving can wear out the spirit. Yet for every tired muscle, presence wraps around you like night air, soft, forgiving, anciently familiar. A rainforest grows dense and lush not through effort, but through being woven into the center of what gives life. The trees don't stretch to prove their worth, they simply stand, and the rain finds them every time. Imagine the moon. She hangs in velvet darkness, not pleading to shine. The sky expects her, welcomes her, holds space for her phases, whether bright or hidden. Even when unseen, she is whole. So are you. And remember a hand warm in yours after the noise of a long day. The comfort isn't something you achieved, it's something you allowed. Abundance isn't a transaction, it's a welcome. Tonight is soften, stop auditioning. Let your soul return to its window, letting the world's gifts filter in, easy as evening, bright as honesty. Presence is how you receive what is already yours. Let that truth play in your heart as you drift. Abundance meets those who remember they belong. Somewhere between the inhale and the exhale, you remember the quiet song of being alive. Life moves here in small pulses, gentle, noticing the rhythm beneath thinking, the tuning of a body that has always known more than words could say. You are still, but you're not stagnant. Your body, this vessel, is already in the flow, even in rest. Blood weaving, breath circling, the rhythm of you goes on softly, surely. Trusting the ancient nature of waking and sleeping, renewal and release. What if integration wasn't about effort? Not about forcing new beliefs or rearranging the whole house of your heart overnight. What if it was just noticing? Notice the way your chest rises. Notice the way surrender feels like floating. Let your body be the rhythm. Imagine there's a chord playing through your spine, whispering, "You're taken care of." When things feel scattered, when life asks you to do, fix, solve, your body brings you home. It says, "Let's just be," weaves you quietly into trust like a patient tide arriving again and again. You are not alone with your thoughts tonight. You are being held by the soft gravity of your own living. Resting here, your nervous system unwinds. There is a peace that seeps in, subtle and slow. These moments, stitched with quiet, are full of intelligence, bodily wisdom deeper than you remember knowing. You are not broken, not falling behind, not at war. You're a vessel for life. Overflow happens quietly first, like a well that keeps filling beneath the surface, even when you forget. Every cell is practicing trust. You do not have to fight the cycle. There is a time for effort, yes, but this is the time for allowing. Think of the moon gathering fullness not because she strives, but because she follows her rhythm. To trust your own cycle of tide and day and gentle return. Integration, it isn't about holding everything at once. It's letting go of what wants to fall away, letting the next moment open gently. Trusting that you are always home, inside this moving, breathing body. This is your vessel, and when you forget to trust, that's okay. Forgetting is part of the spiral. Maybe you're just learning to listen deeper to the quiet between words, the space before answers. In those spaces, your body is always in rhythm. You are being breathed, you are being lived. Rest, overflow doesn't begin with a flood but with a trickle. Gentle moments, one drop at a time, the body receiving, the self receiving, tiny permissions to soften. And to let abundance meet you where you are, even now. Let there be softness with yourself tonight. Let there be kindness in the integration. You don't have to prove you're ready to overflow. The rhythm knows when to rise. Trust the rising inside you. Let it open, let it be enough. You are not just a body, you are the gentle rhythm, you are the overflow, and you are here always enough. And there are moments, soft as the hush just before sunrise, when you remember how light your spirit truly is. Beneath every weight the world ever named, there's a river of ease that keeps moving. Quietly, fiercely alive beneath it all. Tonight, let's drift into that current. Let's visit the places in your soul where easeful abundance is not a wish, it's the quiet truth. Close your eyes if you haven't already, let your breath pool in your chest, and spill out with a gentle sigh. Imagine you're drifting. Not floating away, but deeper, down, into the velvet blue center of your own heart. Here things slow. Here you remember how much belongs to you just because you're here. Picture a world made of every yes your inner child never heard. Every permission slip you never got to sign. And now watch yourself walk through that endless golden field. You walk barefoot, each blade of grass a wish fulfilled with the ease of a cloud-crossing sky. With each step, you feel the tension unspool from your muscles, the old stories loosening their grip. You are not chasing, you are arriving. With each breath, abundance weaves around you, warm as sunlight, cool as memory. You sense the shape of life unfolding for you, not against you. You remember it's always been unfolding, even in the places that hurt. Hold this vision, you are a vessel and a channel, the wellspring never runs dry. You can sip, you can pour without fear. What you give returns 1,000-fold. Every inhale, a gentle, sacred receiving. Every exhale, an offering back to the world. And now in this softness, listen for truths that have waited patiently at the edge of sleep, the ones that feel like home. You are allowed to want ease, you are allowed to receive ease. Wealth is not won through battle, but welcomed by surrender. It is safe. And to let this night rewrite the stories carved too deep in your chest. It is safe to let go. You can rest and abundance will still find you, even here, especially here.